And we welcome you to another edition of This Is Wrestling. It is Versage, alongside the one and only Hornsey. Happy September, the fall season. Zach McGibbon, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Versage. Just coming out of the Labor Day long weekend. And I did have to work the long weekend, unfortunately, but there were some things in between. I did not watch this Clash in Paris show live on Sunday. I ended up calling the Quinny Skyhawks football team, and get this, Lee, they came back down 21-5 in the fourth quarter to win their football game 22-21. It's an exhilarating football game at the end, so I had to push back the watching of a Clash in Paris because of that.
You gave it your all at the end. So what is the final call like from a play-by-play guy? And I see what you're doing. It's a subtle dig at the fact that it was the Ottawa Sooners that the Quinny Skyhawks beat, and a little bit of a dig at Ottawa, but that's okay, Zach. So what is it like for a play-by-play guy in those type of moments?
Oh, the anticipation builds up. I remember my color guy saying after they scored their third touchdown, it was a third rushing touchdown of the game. He was saying, "Oh, well, looks like it's going to be pretty much close to all but over." And lo and behold, after that, you see these plays starting to develop. They recovered an onside kick. They'd made a smart play where the second time they were trying to go on the kickoff, that they decided instead of the onside kick, they booted it so that they could get the rouge, so that they could get themselves in position where if they got the ball back, they would be in a position to kick the game-winning field goal. And it ended up working out. They stopped the Ottawa Sooners offense. They gave them a 3-and-out. They were forced to punt in their own territory, and they got the game-winning field goal with 3 seconds left in the ball game. So it was a walk-off field goal, I should mention. So it was great stuff. Great game to call. The highlights are going to be coming today, I imagine, and so people will be able to hear the call of that kickoff, that field goal, I should say. Hopefully very, very soon, but it was a very exciting game to call.
Well, hopefully you left a little bit here for the weekend, the WWE Clash in Paris. And of course, Monday Night Raw. We got a lot to talk about when it comes to all of the things that happened in the WWE. And, as the calendar flips here, Zach, a lot going on. Looking forward to All Out coming up in less than 3 weeks for AEW fans in Toronto. And of course, the same night, it'll be WrestlePalooza for the WWE. So a lot going on here in the month of September. All right. Clash in Paris. The WWE, I think, with these cards sometimes doesn't quite have the anticipation when it comes to the regular fan. Like, I didn't go into this going, oh my God, I have to see Clash in Paris. Like, if I don't see this, I'm not sure I'm going to know what's going on in the WWE after it. But there is something to be said for crowds like this. And I don't want to blanket all European crowds, but man, this crowd in Paris has always been quite vocal, and it was no different. It's just it's a unique atmosphere that the wrestlers go into, and I think when you're watching on television, it kind of changes a little bit of what you're watching and how you're seeing it. Do you find a difference when you watch cards like this as opposed to, I don't know, if it were Clash in Lowell, Massachusetts? Like it seems to me like just the feeling of it is a little bit different when you have a crowd like this.
Yeah, it certainly brought a different energy than what we usually get when the pay-per-views, or sorry, the Paul Levesque events take place in the U.S. And sometimes Canada, depending where in Canada. But yeah, there's usually a different energy that's being brought with the European crowds. I will say sometimes with the chants, I felt like it was more chants to pop themselves than really chants that they were getting invested in the match. So there were a couple of moments where some key points in the match, I felt like the crowd wasn't really reacting to what was happening in the ring. It was more like, hey, we're here, we're fired up, we've got a lot of energy. And that's really kind of the crowds that WWE has been attracting in the last couple of years, where they've kind of been focused more on the entrances and the pomp and circumstance, and really trying to make this event seem larger than life, and you have to be there for the energy of the crowds. But I will say it does, in other aspects, make the viewing experience much better when you do have a lively crowd that's, following along with a lot of the matches. Because while there were points where I felt like they were just kind of doing chants to pop themselves, there were other moments where they were very deeply invested in matches, specifically one match where I noticed they were really getting invested in. So it really does help the viewing experience, because when you have some of the matches where, I'll say it right now, I found a lot of the matches to be perfectly fine to average matches, with some matches being pretty good. It certainly helps to elevate the atmosphere of the event.
I was a little bit worried when I found out that the world title match, John Cena and Logan Paul, was not going to be the main event. But I think it's interesting, before we kind of get into the matches, and it sort of bleeds into match number one. I found it fairly interesting that you have a card, a PLE in Paris, big event. You have John Cena and Roman Reigns on the card. And if I had told you that both of those guys would be on the card in separate matches and neither of them would be in the main event, I probably could have won some money, I think, from you and a lot of other people, because we just haven't seen events that John Cena or Roman Reigns haven't been in the main event. So I give them a little bit of credit here. I still think the world title should be last. I've always thought that.
Mhm.
But with those two guys, I just never would have thought that it would have been any different. That, of course, one of them would be in the main event. One of them will open the show and one of them will close the show, and that's it. And that one of them opened the show, but the other one didn't close the show. So anyway, I give them some credit as a company and as those particular guys to not stand in the way of, neither of you guys are going to be in the main event in the last one. So I found that interesting, I guess.
Yeah, something different. And I would, to add on to what you were saying, I wouldn't expect one of them to even open the show, really. I know Roman Reigns technically opened SummerSlam with Jey Uso there, but when you have both of those guys, it's kind of interesting how neither one of them got to that main event. I thought for sure, with the way that they were pushing the Cena retirement tour, that he would be in the main event, and the reaction that he got anyways certainly made it seem like it could have been a good main event for them, but they kept it into the middle of the card.
So Roman Reigns opens the card against Big Bronson Reed. Is that how I'm supposed to? Big Bronson Reed.
Yes. And when you say his finishing move, Tsunami, you have to yell it into the microphone as well.
Right. So this one, did you fast forward anything in this card? Like, I got to ask you right away, because for me, again, how long it took these guys even to just get to the ring and ring the bell is ridiculous.
Yes. I didn't fast forward for the first, funny enough, the first three matches, or first 3 or 4 matches, and then afterwards, like, all right, let's get going here. let's move it along here. I tried to, especially in the main event when it was a 4-way, it's like 4 entrances. All right, I just gotta fast forward a little bit. So
yeah.
But I kept locked in. I tried to emulate it as much as I could, the live viewing experience. But so I did watch all the entrances live, and I do believe Roman Reigns is still making the walkout as we're talking.
So I didn't watch this live either, and I was getting kind of reports during different matches. This one's still going on. I think when we wake up on Monday and Tuesday, this match will still be going on. But again, sometimes predictable is okay, depending on how you get it over. I think Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed would have been okay. Well, there's no way that Bronson Reed is winning, but there's no way that Bronson Reed isn't going to get his heat back after the match. I would have put a lot of money on that.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. Do you tell us about? So Roman Reigns wins. Bronson Reed sends Roman Reigns away for a long time after an attack afterwards. How did you think? As far as what you thought, because I'm going to imagine you thought the same, and then how they executed this in 46 minutes from the time that they started till the time that they ended.
Yeah, it was a lengthy angle at the end. I'll start off with a match first. I'll say that if you've seen Roman Reigns matches recently, you've seen this one. It was the long build up to going to the finishing stretch. What I will appreciate is that they didn't do the run-ins in this match. They kept it clean, and they had Roman Reigns pin Bronson Reed clean. So I was okay with that. I've had my fill of run-ins in the WWE, so I can appreciate at least that they just said, look, we're going to have you beat. And I saw how they were trying to work the match as well, where, yes, Bronson Reed was going to lose, but he's going to kick out of some of Roman's stuff, and we're going to try and make him at least look good in defeat. I could make the argument that if you really wanted to put the guy over, and you really wanted to put over this faction, that you have him beat Roman Reigns, and then you continue with the beatdown angle at the end. But that's not what they went with here. They went with Roman getting the victory in, again, a match that on my sheet, it went 22 minutes and 5 seconds, and I was certainly feeling it for the first 10, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But the second half, I think it started to pick up, and there was a good little finishing stretch, and it was a nice little match. And so I felt like the closing angle took forever to really get going.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of delayed run-ins this time. Instead of just everybody running in at once, we're going to take our time to run in. So you had the stuff with Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns beats down Paul Heyman. You're like, oh, they beat him up? All right. And then he goes and he grabs the shoes and puts it around his neck and starts celebrating. Then Braun Breaker comes out, does the spear. So a little late on that one there, Braun, to come in and save your manager, but better late than never, I guess. And lays him out. Then they start walking him to the back, and it's like, all right, that's the angle. They beat him up, save it, and then they run down and they beat him up again, and then Wade Barrett yells tsunami, and then they beat him up, and then they start to walk down again. And then they come back, and then they beat him up some more. And then Wade Barrett yelled tsunami, and then went right back down again. and then just as you thought that they were getting separated, they beat him up again, and Wade Barrett yelled tsunami, and they beat him down some more. Finally, and I will say I understand why he was delayed in running in, because he has a match later on. He's got some priorities of his own. But it did take a while for Jey Uso to come down and to help out Roman Reigns. Didn't do that much, because then he got beaten up too, and then there was another tsunami, I believe, with Wade Barrett yelling tsunami. And then finally they did the stretcher gimmick, and then they beat him up again. They really beat him up a lot now that I'm looking through the recap. It's like, I knew they beat him up a lot, but they really did beat him up a lot.
It just took forever.
It took forever to get going.
I think it delayed people's reactions to like how much they beat him up.
Yeah.
Because you almost forgot about the one a couple of times ago. But what did you think of the stretcher one in particular?
Well, it's funny. They've kind of been emulating this with Bronson Reed over the last year and a half. They did a similar angle. Now they did it much quicker when Bronson Reed just kept doing the tsunamis to Seth Rollins. And I really liked that angle at that time. Like, just, it reminded me of the stuff with Vader back in the day where he was beating up Gorilla Monsoon. And I liked that angle too. So, and again, that angle, they did that much quicker and it felt much more impactful. It felt like Bronson Reed was going to be a guy. And then I think he got hurt and just had to disappear from TV after that. But it was kind of similar to that in a sense, but obviously they stretched out. They really wanted to milk this for what it's worth. And I felt like they could have pushed the accelerator pedal a little bit more and gotten it, and you would have had in fact, I would say you could have gotten an even bigger impact if it was just him constantly getting beat up, because it was kind of getting comical where they were just continue to walk down the ramp only to just run back and beat him up some more. So,
But bottom line is that, Bronson Reed and the group get their heat back. Roman Reigns going to be out for, you would think, a long time. I don't know if that means Survivor Series or there's just so many different things coming up for the WWE. But this one turns out the 46 minutes was from the first entrance until they were wrapped up.
Yeah.
For all these beat ups. It's like 46 minutes. Okay.
Jeez.
All right. It's a long time. But
yes,
good news is we get the Wyatt Six and the Street Profits for the Tag Team Championships. I'm not sure which ones, the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Look, Zach, I don't have a lot to say about this match.
Yeah.
I was shocked that people were picking the Street Profits only because if people watch SmackDown, Bo Dallas was out in Bo Dallas gear and not Wyatt Six gear, telling the Street Profits some things. So you don't introduce that part of the angle for the Wyatt Six to then lose. Plus, you got Halloween coming up, and like you just
look. We got to have our priorities here. Halloween's coming up. We got to know the big dates.
Maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but you got some scary guys as the tag team. I just didn't think the Street Profits were going to win, but they do tease a little dissension. Does that interest you at all?
I think it would have interested me 4 years ago when they did this angle between Dawkins and Montez Ford. It's like, oh, here we go. People that have been listening to the podcast for a while, I was like, oh, I think this Montez Ford guy, you should give him a push and see what you got. He's charismatic and he's fun to watch in the ring. Maybe if you give him a singles push, could be something, but I don't know. I feel like that time has passed. But then again, I don't know, with this WWE crowd, maybe they'll just eat it all up and say, finally, we're getting this massive push, and maybe he turns into a big star. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think I would have been way more interested a couple of years ago if they went ahead and decided to push Montez Ford. Now I'm kind of on it. Like, I still think he's charismatic, and I still think that he can bring some energy into a match and does some cool things in the ring. But it doesn't grip me as much as it used to. So who knows? Maybe they just tease us and then they reconcile, say, you know what? Let bygones be bygones. We'll continue to be the Street Profits for another 5 years before we tease another dissension. So
is it wrong to just want the red Solo Cups back and just dance around and be one of the entertaining teams?
You want the smoke, Lee. You want the smoke.
I do. I want the smoke. I want the red Solo Cups.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did like the Borderlands inspired gear that they came out with?
I hope some people did. That's what I would say. Yeah. I hope some people did.
I know you're a big video gamer, Lee, so I know you were excited for the Borderlands gear, and you're like, oh, Zach, I know Borderlands.
If people were excited about it, then who am I? Okay, I wasn't, but I probably am not the people that they are targeting.
Did you see the new gear that the Street Profits were wearing? It's like, oh, is this a new gimmick? And then realize, oh, it's for the video game.
It usually, you know what? I have been a little bit what's the word? Conditioned to, even with AEW and Osprey and Swerve, and it just seems like it's the thing now to emulate some characters. And Cody's off doing Street Fighter, and it's just the thing now that
Yep.
happens. And so there's a lot of wrestlers in both companies that do this, and they're trying to appeal to a different crowd. I have zero problem with it. It's just not my thing. But if it's popular, I get it. Like it's
so you're not going to go to the internet and say, "Oh, these cosplay wrestlers trying to pretend to be something they aren't," and appeal to the video gamer crowd, and then really take it personally and create a whole podcast brand around it, and that you have fans that become like can't understand that there are other fans that like video games, and so you know, like you could have different crowds, can't just be this one set crowd, It's
amazing that you can morph into different crowds that people can like two things.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Oh, why are we appealing to the nerds, Lee? We can't appeal to the nerds. What about my pro wrestling?
What if I went on to like the Quinny Skyhawks field and wore whose house?
There you go. Swerve's house.
Well, but whose house would it be? Hornsy's house?
I don't think that chant would get over at the Quinny Skyhawks field, unfortunately.
Yeah. Zach, don't underestimate. I can get any chant over at any time in Belleville.
Oh, Chris Jericho over here. Getting everything over.
I just said in Belleville.
No, in Belleville. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough.
Yeah, just in Belleville. I wasn't trying to pat myself on the back. So there was this match, the Wide Six retain. Cool.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch.
Were you like, ooh, spooky, the entrance?
No,
like, they had all the fireflies out.
No. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Okay, look. Again, I understand why things like this happen. I think what I don't understand is seeing reports that come out afterwards that say, like, literally, I'm looking at one in the last 12 hours. Nikki Bella promises her WWE career and comeback is only the beginning. Okay.
Beginning to the end?
No,
that's what I'm hoping for.
Only the beginning.
Oh.
I just don't quite understand why you haven't been in the ring in a long time. People want to see nostalgia. It's a big act. I understand nostalgia. I get it. I feel like it's been done now with Nikki Bella. I don't know why they continue to push this. And, we are going to get, I think, some more nostalgia, and we'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. But I just don't understand. And I hear all these people. I was listening to Natalia talk about how Nikki Bella was so ready for this match, and she was part of the training. And she actually said on one of the bigger shows that she didn't think, people were, asking her, and I think fairly so, do you think that Nikki Bella will be able to keep up with Becky Lynch? And like legitimately, she's saying, I actually think the opposite. I wonder if Becky Lynch will be able to keep up with Nikki Bella.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh.
Well, but there's being confident and then being delusional.
Right. Yeah, but that's the issue, right? Yeah. Is that, okay, you can bring back nostalgia and cater to people, and we get it. It happens all the time. I think Goldberg's retired, but I'm not sure. There's just so many times that this happens. But the problem is when you actually put them in the ring, people, they want to remember, they want to relive it, they care about the people, and I don't discount that. But when you put them in the ring, and then you put them in the ring, like, thank God the WWE put Goldberg in the ring with Gunther at the end.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put people in the ring with really, really great people, even to get a so-so okay match, because of the fact that they're just not there anymore. And kudos to Becky Lynch, and she's going to be involved more coming up. But I think she's done an okay job, but she's not the person now that I would say, oh, Becky Lynch can carry this person. In the women's division, there's only a few people that I would give that to, and it's probably Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair at her best, and I think the list would stop there.
Yeah.
So anybody else, it's not even a super critical statement. Anybody else that you're putting in the ring and you're expecting them to carry somebody who hasn't been in the ring in a very long time, and quite frankly was never that good of a wrestler to begin with, you're asking for trouble. You're just asking for it. No matter how much training goes into it, you're asking for trouble. Unless these people are great. And I don't want to keep hounding on it, but there was a spot in this match. I'm like, oh my God. It's just, Nikki Bella goes to the second rope and comes back with a roundhouse kick. And like Becky Lynch is just nowhere near her. Like not even in the vicinity of where, and she doesn't really look to make sure that she's there. And it looks ridiculous. And this is the part I don't understand, is bringing nostalgia back. When they get into the ring, it just doesn't work. So that's my analysis of this match. Becky Lynch retains in a very unmemorable match. And I just even can't believe that Nikki Bella says that it's only the beginning. Okay.
Awesome.
I guess.
Great. I guess we're going to get more matches. Love it.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's all to say. I didn't love this match at all.
Yeah, this was easily the worst match of the show. Things are going great when Becky Lynch, the heel, gets massive cheers when she's going out there to the ring and for her moves. And Nikki Bella, who's supposed to be the babyface, gets boos from this crowd. We very rarely see the WWE crowds nowadays kind of go and shift the character roles. Usually they just abide by what's being pushed on TV and not give any sort of critical pushback. So it is kind of interesting that they did kind of say, oh, we kind of like Becky. That's been historically the case with Becky Lynch too. It's like whenever they try to push her as a heel, the crowd's like, we don't really want to boo her. Right. Every time, so they're going to try again. And
right, because the nostalgia is there for Becky Lynch. At one time, she was the most popular person, not woman, person in the WWE.
Yep.
As the character, the man, she was in the main event of WrestleMania, and this was somebody who people just wanted to get behind. And okay, they're trying to develop her character, and you turn her heel and you do all kinds of things. But as you said, the bottom line is people remember back to when she was the most popular person in the company. And it wasn't close. It was like you needed to be around the TV if you were a fan when Becky Lynch, the man, came out, because she was the most popular person.
Yep.
That's a really hard thing to try to go the other way with if you're not that good of a wrestler. And she's better than Nikki Bella, and she's better than some, but she's not an unbelievable wrestler.
Yeah, she's not an elite level in-ring worker. No.
Right. So now you're asking people to believe this heel woman who's not that great of a wrestler, and people remember just a few years ago that she was the most popular person on the planet.
Yep.
Look, there's a lot to be said, and I know at least the WWE has fixed this with John Cena, and they're going to tell us that this was their plan all along. There's no way. This might have been, other than Hogan, might have been the greatest heel turn of all time, but followed up by the worst heel run of all time.
Yes.
And, I think as this crowd, when people want to cheer people, and it really is in them to want to cheer for people, you need to let them cheer for people. So this Becky Lynch thing is going to continue because they have thrust her in the spotlight, which we'll get to in a minute. But as you said, the crowd reverses because they just remember about who they thought was cool and who they still think is kind of cool, and that's Becky Lynch. And they don't really have a big feeling for Nikki Bella.
Yeah. And it was weird how they were trying to do the story too, where it's like Nikki Bella was saying, "Oh, I knew the women's division was in good hands, and so that's why I retired." When Becky Lynch and whatnot, it's like, no, I remember it as, you know, they wanted obviously a revolution, and they keep pushing that, you know, in their lexicon. But I remember it's like, oh, we got a lot of really good women's wrestlers that are coming in. It's like we don't have to go back to that Divas style of wrestling from the 2000s to the early 2010s. So yeah, the match itself was not very good. It was pretty sloppy at points. You know, you talk about nostalgia when it comes to Nikki Bella. I got a little nostalgic because it was great to see the memes comparing Nikki Bella to Mitsuharu Misawa again. I really enjoyed those. When she does the rolling elbow, it's like, oh, great. Nikki Sawa is back and delivering rolling elbows. And that is what kind of got me fired up for this match. It's like to see those rolling elbows come back. But otherwise, yeah, this was easily the worst match of the show.
It's a good old-fashioned Donnybrook. It's Rusev and Sheamus. What'd you think?
I like this match. It was a little gimmicky at points, but I expect that with the WWE. I saw a lot of love for this match. Like, people loved this match, and I don't know if I'm at that level, but I enjoyed it. I like me a good old-fashioned two big guys beat each other up, big meaty men slapping meat, you know? I do enjoy that kind of match. But, you know, there were kind of some gimmicky points, you know, when Rusev was putting in the accolade on top of the barrels of whiskey. It was like, it is funny we're having a good old-fashioned Donnybrook in Paris, France. If there's any other location to have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, it's in Paris, near the Eiffel Tower. So, yeah, it was a good little brawl, I thought. They utilized some weapons and there were some hard-hitting elements, and I was a little surprised that Rusev got the victory. He has been somebody, I know that he's gotten a push recently, but he always kind of felt like somebody that ever since he returned back to WWE, he was kind of in the background a little bit.
But isn't this, and sorry to interrupt, but isn't this one that really just screams Sheamus is kind of untouchable? Like, he doesn't need to win this match to be popular tomorrow. When, like, he'll walk out anywhere, he's still just as over and just as popular. So from that standpoint, I went into this going, Sheamus does not need to win this match.
Yeah.
And Rusev absolutely has to win this match because he's been nowhere close to where we thought he was going to be once he first got there. So he needs a couple of these wins to get himself back. That doesn't mean the WWE is always going to do it, but just logic told me that, like, Sheamus woke up and was the exact same after this match. And Rusev, I think, would have been kind of hurt even more if he lost this match. But I think one of the reasons that you're talking about, and I feel the same way as you, I don't know if I liked it as much as some people were talking about it, but because I did find it gimmicky as well. But the reason that people liked it, and this is where we are in the WWE right now, the reason people put it over as much as they did, in my opinion, is the fact that we just don't see this anymore. Like, a good old fashioned, now you can gimmick it up with the name and some of the things, but there was some hard hitting stuff in this. And we should get a card where there's 3 or 4 matches that there's hard hitting stuff every time we see the WWE.
Yeah.
But there isn't. And if Gunther or Sheamus or Rusev or maybe Drew McIntyre, if they're not out there, we're not getting that. And so it's, to me, this is we haven't really seen this lately, and we miss it, and we like this style of wrestling. And so we think now this is better than what it was simply because people have not seen it that much. And it's about time they put two guys like in this and go beat the crap out of each other. They didn't have to do it as gimmicky as they did, but that should be the reason why guys are fighting.
Yep.
Just go and beat the crap out of each other because I'm better than you.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And I always found Sheamus pretty underrated. I still think he gets underappreciated nowadays because he just goes in there and he's been wrestling that style like of just being a brawler for the last 10, 15 years. And it's worked out well for him in terms of, you know, establishing his style and something a little different from everybody else on the roster. And I've enjoyed Sheamus. I know that he's been in storylines where he's been unenjoyable in the last 15 years. And so I think that's why there is a I think that's why he doesn't really get the praise as much as I think he should. But whenever he goes out there, I always enjoy a Sheamus match because he, as you mentioned, he just delivers hard-hitting strikes. He knows what he is. He's a big brawling dude. And and he goes out there, has some fun brawling matches. So I enjoy the Sheamus. And, you know, Rusev, you know, it's funny to kind of see him back. He was my guy. You know, long-time listeners know he was my guy for a time. I was sitting there and I was with him when he was preaching to his gods about trying to win his matches. I was right there with him. I was like, yes, please, you know, find it within you to win your matches and absolutely dominate and be the chosen person to win your matches.
The Zach Deemer. Yeah.
That's right. The Zach Deemer. That's what we're calling it now. I was with him. And I was enjoying it all, and then he decided I'm not gonna put my back down for Hangman Page tonight, and then everything just changed from there. So I do enjoy the Rusev. I enjoyed him all the way back in WWE, even when he was with the United Nations or whatever. What was that group called? What it was he and Sheamus and Wade Barrett, and I think it was the United Nations or something like that. I could be wrong.
It wasn't the United Nations. It was
you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Nations was in it.
Yeah. League of Nations, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, the League of Nations.
Yes. Yeah. I will always remember the promo he cut after Mania where he was talking about rounding up chickens in Bulgaria and saying they eat the chickens, and it was just incredibly hilarious. But good to see he's kind of getting back on the stretch. I was a little bit surprised. Only the reason why, because logically you're right. Like Rusev would have needed the win. But I just felt with the way that he had been pushed that this was just more to reestablish Sheamus so that they could book him for other stuff on TV as opposed to putting over Rusev. So I was surprised when he won, and I was happy he won. And again, it was clean, you know. So I enjoyed this. It was a good little match. I didn't love it as much as others, but I enjoyed this. It was good.
All right, John Cena, Logan Paul for the WWE Championship. I heard about this match a lot before I watched the match. And sometimes that can be tough because you hear what people think before you formulate what you think of the match. So I'm excited to hear what you think of this match.
Thought it was all right. I didn't think too much of it. It was certainly not as good as the Cena Cody match at SummerSlam, even though I think they started to overindulge themselves a little bit at the end with the kickouts. But this was all right. I think people were just more excited of the fact that Cena did these callbacks to previous opponents he's had in his career, like with AJ Styles. He did a Styles Clash in this match, and it's exactly what you think a John Cena Styles Clash would look like. I will just say that. Not the prettiest, but it's funny to me because it's funny to see people kind of react to Logan Paul because I see some people that are not the Logan Paul fans. They're not big Logan Paul fans at all, and they say he's not improved. And I don't know, like with Logan Paul, like I think he's still pretty solid out there. And sometimes we forget he's.
Hold on. Who's saying this?
The internet's, Lee. The internet's got the scoops, as Hogan once said.
I don't. So I don't live on the internet like you live on the internet.
Yes.
But I don't see this. And in fact, I think it's the opposite. I think every time that guy goes out, it's people are praising him for what he is able to do. You can finish. I like this match a whole lot better than you.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought it was all right. I've kind of getting used to this style now of WWE, where in order to protect a lot of their older wrestlers, we're just gonna spam the finisher button like it's 2K and just go into these finishing stretches where we're gonna kick out a Cena's finishing move 16 different times, each time representing he's held the world title, so that he could, show how epic this match is. It doesn't enthrall me, and while there were some cool callbacks, and Cena is certainly a guy that would do that sort of stuff in terms of callback to previous opponents, I thought it was an all right match. I like the Donnybrook more than this match. But I will say, Cena has looked a lot better since that first initial run. I think now that he's in a lot more, I think he's now in his comfort zone as a top baby face, going out there, getting the cheers, as opposed to being a heel. I think because he's a lot more comfortable, he can go into the ring and do a little bit more. So he hasn't looked like the guy where we were like, man, this guy is, no wonder he wants to retire. This guy does not look great. You know what? He's putting in some good performances here. But still, I didn't love this match. I thought it was an all right match. Like, if you wanted me to put like a star rating on it, I would have gone like 3.25, 3.5.
Okay, so I understand where you're coming from, and you're a bit of a jaded WWE fan. I'm going to try to look at this a little bit objectively when I say that John Cena is not a great professional wrestler. I'm not sure he ever was, but he certainly is not now.
Yeah. Can I jump in and say, people will say, oh, but he's had great matches, but you could have great matches, but that doesn't mean you're a great professional wrestler. I've known there are professional wrestlers out there that have had great matches in the past, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've been a great professional wrestler. Most of the time, a lot of those matches because of the person they faced off in the ring.
Well, that's I was just going to say, how many John Cena great matches can people point out that he was the best wrestler and not the second best wrestler?
Yeah. Like people point to matches with Brock Lesnar, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Edge.
I would say Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens,
those matches, and all of those guys were better than John Cena. All of them.
I agree.
Yeah. So to your point, I don't think he's a great wrestler. And now in 2025, I don't think it's even possible for him to be a great wrestler because he's beat up. There's things that he can't do. He's older. And so I think you have to take all of that into consideration. His match with Cody at WrestleMania was god awful. And the fact that he has picked up his pace here, and the match with Cody at SummerSlam was better. I think that has a lot to do with a lot of planning behind the scenes and a lot of understanding that the first one wasn't very good, and that Cody Rhodes can still really go when he wants to, and is rested up to be able to do so. With all that said, John Cena coming into a match and not looking terrible and calling, like, John Cena calls every match he's ever in. And
we know he calls his matches too, because he yells them into the ring.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Yeah. He just yells out the next move.
Hip toss.
What's going on?
Back suplex. Shinsuke now Shinsuke now.
And I think if you go back, if you know the intricacies of professional wrestling and go back and watch some John Cena matches, you will get a real kick out of it, about how much he does not care about yelling out the next spot, where other people very much try to protect it, whether it's their hair or ventriloquism or whatever it is, they try and protect it. John Cena does not.
Leapfrog into side headlock takeover.
So my whole point being is that John Cena at 48 years old at a PLE in Paris, going up against a guy that's wrestled 23 times in his entire life. To me, it's got the makeup of not a very good match. Like, just with some of the things going into it. John Cena can't do a lot. He basically has had one good match since he has come back, and that was with Cody Rhodes. He was bound and determined to not let that one fail. And John kept up, and that's good, but it was also John keeping up with somebody else that was more of a seasoned pro and not going to let them down twice in Cody Rhodes. So now John's going into a title match on a PLE with a guy who's wrestled 23 times in his entire life. If you put that in front of me and just sort of did the stats before it, this is going to be an absolute train wreck of a match.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my bar is pretty low because I'm going into it thinking this has got the possibility of being super bad. And it was not only not super bad, I thought this was good. So there were some false finishes that I liked. I get what you're saying about everything is not clean, everything is kind of yelled out, but Logan Paul kept up in this match.
Absolutely.
And this is why John Cena did it, because he wanted to put Logan Paul over in every way possible. I actually think it wouldn't have been a bad idea for him to lose the title to Logan Paul. Mm-hmm. But when you found out that this was not the main event, there was no chance of that happening. So I really enjoyed the match because I think now Logan Paul is proving himself to be a guy that it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to be in there now with the greatest wrestlers currently to propel him along and carry him, where he can get in a couple of spots and the other guy's going to carry him most of the way. I thought that this one had some good flow. I thought Logan Paul looked really good in this match. I thought John Cena tried really hard, and I was looking at it from a very low bar perspective. And Logan Paul also going in there with a guy that is like, John Cena's whole thing is to go in and call the match on the fly all the time.
Yep.
That's his thing. And he's the greatest of all time for a lot of people. And certainly wrestlers feel like when they go in, they're not calling any spots in the match because John's going to call all of them and he's going to do it on the fly, and you better listen. That's a really tough spot for Logan Paul. Really tough. Loud crowd, very loud. And you have to go in there with your limited experience and follow along to what John Cena is going to do. I thought he kept up and looked really, really good. And then John Cena's looked much better the last couple of matches than he was previously. So yes, I guess what I'm saying is the bar is low, but I really thought that both of them came out looking okay in this match afterwards. I don't know about like the finisher spam thing. I agree with you completely. It's hard for me to even. We're going to do that show, but I'm going to ruin the ending of the show where the AA is the worst finishing maneuver of all time in the history of wrestling for a guy of the status of John Cena. Yeah. It's just so bad. And so sometimes they're like kicking out of like people making a big deal of kicking out of a John Cena finisher. Like, all right, I could kick out of that, but yeah, right. So I don't know. I like this match a lot more than you did, and I'm pretty happy with the result because I came out of it going that was pretty good for guys that maybe I didn't expect it, but I think Logan Paul's going to be a star, Zach.
Oh yeah. Oh, I no disagreement from me there. I think that's a guy that, and they mentioned on commentary too, that he is going to be a future world champion. Commentary, by the way, I want to say it was better than previous shows. It was fine. Maybe I just had them tuned out more, so there wasn't anything like demonstrably bad coming from commentary this evening at Paris. Other than after the show, Michael Cole saying that John Cena is having his last match in January, which was like, oh, okay, they're pushing it back a little bit, only for him to correct himself later, say, no, it's actually still in December.
Yeah.
That would have caught NBC off guard when they were like, oh, we've got Saturday night's main event is where John Cena's last match is happening. So, but otherwise, I didn't notice anything from commentary that was like demonstrably bad.
Yeah.
It was just your usual affair. So
also another clean finish.
Yes, exactly.
So look, the WWE is very, very guilty of like run-in after run-in after run-in and no clean finishes.
Yeah.
This was another clean finish. And correct me if I'm wrong, they were all clean finishes to this point.
I think there was a little bit of interference in the Wyatt 6 match.
Oh, the Wyatt 6 match.
But everything else was clean, yes.
I try to
forget it too, trust me. You know I would try to forget it too.
I did try and forget that. But
see that rocking chair, and just
yeah. Okay, so let's get to the main event.
Oh, quickly before we get to the main event.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a point of this. Before they did the main event, they announced their attendance record in Paris, okay? So they announced the record of 30,000 people, right? 30,343 fans. And then Cole goes on commentary and says, in addition to that, WWE set a single event gate record for the arena, beating out a Taylor Swift concert, which I believe is the one that took place recently in 2024. So, first of all, again, they're going on the broadcast and talking about how much money they made, right? We were going all in on that with when Raw debuted on Netflix. And they went to the live, and a live crowd cheered for how much money they spent on the show. Still boggles my mind. But he instead did this on the broadcast. Lee, I need to point this out because I saw this. I was like, wow, of course they would announce the gate, which just, again, blows my mind. It's like, why would a fan care about how much money you guys made? If anything, it's just indicative of like, wow, we're really spending a lot of money into this company, and they are flaunting how much money that they are making from us. But more information on this. So 30,000 fans, if we take them at face value, right? Which you shouldn't really do with WWE. They like to pump up those numbers and make it look really good. And so, but if we take it at face value, 30,000 fans, Taylor Swift in that arena drew 45,000 fans each night. So there were 45,000 fans for one night, let's say, in that building at the Paris La Défense Arena. And there were 30,000 people in the building for WWE. And yet, Lee, they made more money than the Taylor Swift concert. Think about that. That's bonkers. That's insane. There was 15,000 less fans, and yet they made more money in one night than Taylor Swift did.
That's impossible.
That's bonkers.
That's impossible with the way that Taylor Swift tickets were going. There's no way that's true.
That's crazy if that's true. And even if it's not true, why would you say that on the broadcast?
Well, because you can. And
why would you flaunt that? Flaunt it to your business partners, not your fans. Oh my God, Lee. That's unbelievable.
So,
if I'm a WWE fan, I would be having pitchforks out of Stamford, Connecticut right now. Give me my money back.
Now, is it true that the fans actually did chant one of the chants about how much money it was, and it was too much money?
It's like, I would like to feel sympathetic, but they were all there. You still showed up. You still bought the ticket.
But did they do that?
Yes.
I feel like
I was at a Raw recently or something like that. Or a house show. Yeah.
They didn't do this in Paris?
No, I didn't see it in Paris. I could be wrong.
Okay.
My French isn't very strong, so I apologize if I didn't pick up on some of the French chants, but I know they did it at a house show where they were talking about how expensive the tickets were. And while it's funny, I'm like, well, you still bought the ticket, you know, like you still showed up, and they're still selling out the building. Like WWE is going to charge them if they feel like the fans are going to buy the tickets for them. It's not like we're watching these WWE shows and it's like half empty buildings. There's 30,000 people if you take it at face value. In fact, I'm being generous. They're probably pumping up the numbers. So it's probably like 28,000 people in the building, which is worse if you're a WWE fan that they still made a gate record, you know, because that's just even more of a disparity from a Taylor Swift concert. That's so bonkers. I can't believe nobody else is like throwing their hands up in the air. Just be like, wait a minute. This is how much money they're making, and they're flaunting it to your face on how much money they're making. Like, it's one thing if it was like in those press conferences where they cowardly ended those press conferences because Brock Lesnar came back and they didn't want to take any questions about Brock Lesnar. And Triple H announces it in the press conference. That's one thing, right? Because that's like news and information for reporters. But it's telling your fans how much money you made from them. Like, imagine if I went on this show and I said, Lee, I want to tell the fans of This Is Wrestling that we made the most money out of any episode of the podcast on this episode from you, the fans. Thank you for your contributions to This Is Wrestling. Could you imagine the backlash I would get for saying that? It's unbelievably. It blows my mind.
So there was a chant at the Clash in Paris. We don't have any money left.
Oh, that is a funny chant.
But
and then they went and promoted the gate record. Like, unbelievable.
But again, those people also were the ones who bought tickets to the event. So it's hard. Like, you understand what they're saying, but they should be saying it like from their couch and not from the arena.
Yeah, it should be a half-empty arena. That should be the message. No one's holding you at gunpoint to go to the show and buy the ticket.
I would just like Taylor Swift to find out the fact, like, if I'm Taylor Swift, I'm kind of like, guys, I thought we were doing well here with the tickets. I got this message that we put 15,000 more people into the same stadium and made less money than the WWE did.
Can we fix this?
Is this true?
Yeah.
Because if I'm Taylor Swift, I'm actually very concerned about this.
Yeah.
Thinking that I was making some good money, yet filling 15,000 more seats and making less money, that would concern me if I were Taylor Swift.
Well, you know, if you're Taylor Swift, you know what the solution to that is. It's like, well, if they've got wrestling, I'm going to bring wrestling as well. I'm going to bring in the closest contact to wrestling I have. And that, of course, Lee, is Jeff Jarrett. And if there's anybody I know that knows how to draw money in this business, it is Jeff Jarrett. And
former Taylor Swift, former babysitter.
That's right.
For Jeff Jarrett.
There's a photo out there of Taylor Swift looking after Jeff Jarrett's kids.
Yeah.
So how about that? So that's how you counter. She's going to counter with Jeff Jarrett, and that is how they're going to make their money back.
The good attendance note that you brought up.
I just wanted to make that. It blew my mind, and I couldn't believe it.
It's Zach, we're going to have to dig into this. There's no way that this is possibly true.
Yeah. There's no internal figures or anything like that. It has been leaked out, but they mentioned this on the broadcast. And even if it's not true, why would you tell your fans? Like, why? Just why would you flaunt that? Boggles my mind. Anyway,
Seth Rollins, CM Punk, LA Knight, and main event Jey Uso in a fatal 4-way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And we now know that going into this match that Paul Heyman's in the hospital and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are banned from the building, and they won't get paid, Zach. So we know they're not showing up.
Yeah.
The threat.
I guess some of that gate money they couldn't separate out to the other guys. So
no. So you guys are not going to get paid if you interfere in the match. So Seth Rollins is on his own defending against 3 other people. And what happens, we'll talk about the match a little bit, but at the end, a masked assailant comes into the ring, low blows CM Punk, kind of goads him over towards where the chair is lying in the ring, and then a curb stomp onto the chair of the head of CM Punk, and Seth Rollins is able to retain with the help of his wife, Becky Lynch. What did you think?
Well, I will say this. I have been harping on these road agents for the last couple of months for not doing their job and just having these really awkwardly laid out cards. So I will say this. We've had a lot of clean finishes leading up to this moment so that you can make this moment bigger.
Yep.
So I got to give them credit there. Other than the tag title match with the Wyatt Six, they every other match on the card was clean. There was a definitive finish. Yes, there was stuff that happened after the match in some cases, but still they kept it clean, and so that they could build up to this moment. I know that's kind of the basic of a job of a road agent, but considering what we've got the last couple of months in both WWE and AEW, by the way, in terms of how the layouts of cards go and booking angles, I have to at least give them some credit for doing their job and getting that done.
Yep.
So hats off to them for doing that. I'll talk about the angle here first. So I know that this was discussed for the longest time about eventually having Becky Lynch joining Seth Rollins and doing this power couple thing. I believe you have even pitched it on this show for the last couple of months. So I will give you your flowers here, Lee, and say congratulations. They finally saw it through. They put this angle here on this show. So you saw that it was coming and it happened. So I will give you your flowers there as well. So the angle itself, I thought, it was, I'm not sure about this duo. We'll see. They've tried it before with the power couple duo, and it did not work out for both of them. This was back in 2019. By the way, 2019, that was a year when they tried to make Becky Lynch a heel. She got babyface reactions, and they tried to have her do this power couple thing with Seth Rollins. So see how it goes 6 years later. I think obviously WWE is going to do the big angle, and they did it. It's trying to book for TikToks and Instagram Reels, and people are going to be talking about it. I'm not as convinced it's going to work this time around. Only because I've seen it the first time around. Punk's humiliation tour continues. They find different ways to have him lose in dramatic fashion, whether he gets cashed in on or he gets low blowed, or they have him go back on his morals and go to Saudi Arabia, or all these different things. Ever since Mania, they found different ways to get this guy Punk in precarious positions. Yeah. So I do enjoy that from that standpoint. There's the creativity that they find for CM Punk. The match itself, you had some great workers in there, plus Jey Uso and LA Knight. So I found it hilarious that Punk super kicked Jey Uso right away, and Jey Uso rolled out of the ring, and that got shockingly no reaction. I was shocked, actually, that got no reaction. I thought it would be this big. Remember when it was the Cena, Shawn Michaels, Triple H triple threat, and I think it was Shawn that super kicked Hunter, and they were like, "Oh my God, he super kicked his DX teammate," and the crowd was like, "Oh my God, it's Cena's looking across." That's what I think they were trying to go for here. But you have to remember with Jey Uso is that he's got a great entrance. People love cheering for his entrance. Then the bell rings, and then the investment is just not there. So that's kind of what happened there.
So just to look, the Jey Uso thing is come and gone, and it's not going to work. No. It's very clear. But, and I will say, apparently he did get injured in the first brawl, the never-ending brawl. And so the fact that he did go back out there, I think that's exactly why the beginning of the match happened that way. He still went out there. Now, if he got injured for real, you wonder how well he could have done the yeeting at the beginning. Yeah. That was weird. Yeah. So I don't know how much he got hurt or didn't get hurt or whatever. Maybe they just didn't want him around. But you're right. This is a match with two main event guys and two guys that are not near the main event. So there was a it felt like a major discrepancy in what that was going to be. Now, obviously, I didn't know what the angle was going to be at the end. I think going into it, I would not have bet on CM Punk to be the guy that took the pin.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either.
So, again, to your point, there's a lot of good here around the match.
Yep.
Because the match wasn't great. But there was, and I brought up the clean finishes just like you pointed out. I brought that up earlier in the podcast because you had Becky Lynch come in and you protected that finish a little bit. The fact that this was the main event told you that something was going to happen because John Cena and Roman Reigns did not main event this show. And again, I think there's no way I thought Seth Rollins was ever losing this match, but I would have put some good money on the fact that CM Punk would not have taken the pin. And so whether you like the angle or you don't, I don't disagree with you about like how is it going to work, except for my argument would be how is it going to work after the next 2 months? Because in the next 2 months, I'm telling you, it's going to work. Because what's coming up, Zach, for the WWE? What's their next show?
You have the show in Indianapolis there, WrestlePalooza.
Is that the first one, Zach, that's on ESPN?
That is the first one on ESPN.
So if you were thinking about what could be a main event for the first ESPN show that you think could draw some real eyeballs, what would that be?
Well, they are promoting the John Cena match, so that certainly would help. I imagine that's the match with Brock Lesnar that they're going to do. By the way, still conspicuous by his absence, Brock Lesnar. He's around, I guess, but we haven't gotten an explanation on that. I would imagine a Cody Rhodes title defense as well will be put in there because we didn't get one on this PLE, this Paul Levesque event. So,
yeah. But I'm going to tell you what the main event's going to be.
Okay. It's not going to be Cena Lesnar is what you're saying.
Well, it could be Cena Lesnar from maybe they have a double main event, but I think
gotcha.
there is a main event out there that is so again, what's the word? If you were thinking, okay, what's the first one on ESPN? What would ESPN want to do? How can we kick off the ESPN era? It's like a match made for this to me. And I wouldn't hold off on the Survivor Series or like we already have John Cena's last match on Peacock on December 13th. I wouldn't be putting it in there because it'll get lost. There is a match and you're not going to like it.
Oh boy.
But
rubbing my hands already. Let's go.
No, I think you know what it's going to be. I don't think you're going to be surprised by what I'm going to say.
All right.
But there is a match out there that there's a lot of people that are going to think that this can draw money, and it's a little bit more inclusive or whatever the word you want to use is. And the answer is Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch against CM Punk and who, Zach?
Are you talking about one AJ Lee?
I certainly am. So you can talk to me all you want about that match won't be something that you or maybe some hardcore wrestling fans want to see. But if I were in charge of ESPN and I were getting the WWE and I'm getting the first PLE coming up in a month, do I want Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and CM Punk and a returning AJ Lee, the wife of CM Punk that they've never teamed together? They've never really acknowledged the on-screen time of CM Punk and his wife against Seth Rollins and his wife is like the baddest man, the Intercontinental Champion, used to be the man, is now running with the top group, and in comes, I think, a very popular nostalgia act. This isn't Nikki Bella to me. This is somebody who could work much better than some of the divas in that era. She hasn't worked in a long time, but I think she would get a massive response in coming back. And so the second I saw this angle, I'm like, oh my God. Like this has intergender main event tag team action at a major show. Oh, ESPN's got a major show. Their first coming up. It just has it written all over it. I'd be shocked if they didn't do this. Now, there'd be an argument that they shouldn't rush this, and maybe it isn't on ESPN, and they do drag it out to a main event of Survivor Series or wherever they're going to do it because they're not going to rush the storyline. I would actually prefer that. I would actually like it so that this isn't happening. But I was sort of pointed out that during the match that Seth Rollins, while he was beating down CM Punk, was screaming at him like heels scream at baby faces. Yep. But one of the things that he said in those screams were, I hate you, I hate your family. And he screamed it loud for everybody to hear. It's a weird thing to say if someone's family is not there and not ever involved.
Yes.
Like what? How could Seth Rollins hate CM Punk's family? He doesn't know CM Punk's family.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't like the dog. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose. I kind of don't like the dog either.
Take that, Larry. She's shooting on Larry. Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just tailor-made for this. So as soon as I saw Becky Lynch, and I think that this, whether you think the match will work or the angle will work or I will, I think it will work to the mass WWE fan.
It will.
Now, after that, we can have a full discussion on whether Becky Lynch's time at the top of the stable that's going on right now will work. I don't know whether that will or not. But for the short time, I definitely think it will work. Because I don't see any way around AJ Lee not coming back and this not being a power couple versus power couple, and then start to insert, like, honestly, if you really, really wanted to, start to insert Cody and Brandy down the line. Like, I'm not talking right now. I know they're having another baby, but you're talking about Montez and Bianca. There's lots of couples. And I know that the Trinity's now gone away, but you had that couple as well.
Yeah.
Oh. So there's a lot you could do. You could even bring back Lana at this point.
There you go.
So
I got this great idea now that you mentioned all these couples.
Yeah.
I've got this great idea. Just popped in my head. Oh, I could see the vision right now. See what I did there? The vision.
The vision.
This is great. You know how WWE, they're always looking for new programming, right? Because they're just struggling, scraping by, trying to get money, as we know, with their gate record that they had. So why not sell this show where you have these intergender tag team matches? You know, you have one side, it's like Seth and Becky, right? As you mentioned, the other side, CM Punk and AJ Lee. And it's like a mixed tag match. And they challenge each other. I'm going to call this the Mixed Match Challenge. How about that? So we do the Mixed Match Challenge, and we could sell that programming. It could be like this little tournament style if you want to. It could be the special programming. And we could sell the Mixed Match Challenge. You could do it to different ways. Why not Facebook? You know, let's sell the Mixed Match Challenge to Facebook. I'm sure Meta could use some programming right now. So I'm thinking we could do the Mixed Match Challenge. We could have it for several weeks, maybe a couple of months as well. And you have these different intergender tag team matches that you could do. You could sell the programming. You can make some money. I think this is a great idea, Lee. What do you think?
I actually think there's there's a pay-per-view on the horizon
Oh,
that is a full tournament like King of the Ring,
okay.
and you are the power couple of the year. Like you are I would call it the new King and Queen of the Ring.
Okay.
Do we have King of the Ring anymore?
Well, yes. I mean, they usually have it in Saudi Arabia. King and
Okay.
Queen of the Ring. I don't know how the Prince of Saudi Arabia feels about that, but
who's the King of the Ring right now?
Gun in my head, I don't know.
Okay, but who's the Queen of the Ring right now? The whole point is
I know I watched the show, but I was like, oh yeah, Jade Cargill and Cody Rhodes were the King and Queen of the Ring winners.
Oh my god, that is so lame.
No wonder I forgot about the Queen of the Ring, and I'm surprised I forgot that Cody had won. Sorry, go on.
I just don't ever hear Cody introduced as the King of the Ring.
I know. Such a
winner.
Prestigious tournament.
So my point would be is you don't have a King of the Ring anymore or a Queen of the Ring. You have a King and Queen of the Ring in a mixed match tournament, and that is the pay-per-view. That like you literally have quarterfinals and semifinals and finals, and you have 8 couples. I feel like we could get there. And then if Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch win, they walk around as the legitimate King and Queen of the Ring for a year because they won the power couple tournament. Tell me that this is a bad money-making idea, Zach.
I'm searching up Mixed Match Challenge right now. I'm trying to get the trademark in so that we could get this tournament off the ground.
Look, I would never, ever, 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 ever watch this in a million years. But
that's why we put it on Facebook, Lee. It's a great idea.
No, but I'm just saying, could you see the WWE selling you on, you got Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, you got CM Punk, you got AJ Lee. Let's pretend that people are like healthy or not away.
Yes.
You have Bianca and Montez.
Yep.
You easily could bring back Lana and Rusev. So there's 4 right there. And then you could have Cody and Brandy if Brandy was able to, depending on them having a baby or not. And you certainly have Trinity and Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, we also need nostalgia acts too, Lee, so we can really like round out this field. So I'm saying we bring back Mark Marrow, and we get Mark Marrow in this Mixed Match Challenge, and he could be there with all of a sudden I've forgotten his I guess now ex-wife's name. All of a sudden it's super popular. Sable, yeah. Mark Marrow and Sable. There you go.
Pretty sure Brock Lesnar would have
a word to say about that.
A word to say about that.
Whoa, brother! What are we doing?
Yeah, you could bring back Brock Lesnar and Sable too.
Yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth.
No, can't do that. No. We can't bring them back.
Oh, we can't do that one.
No. But you understand my point here.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of other couples off the top of my head.
Undertaker, Michelle McCool.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised if they brought them back for that. Like
that's Undertaker coming out of his retirement so he could do the Mixed Match Challenge.
Like I literally think that could happen. And then all of a sudden someone wins. You know what? Here we go. I got it for you.
Oh boy, here we go.
So this would cap off the pay-per-view so much. This is how they're going to end it. That Cody and Brandy are going to find a way to beat Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And they're about to be awarded the King and Queen of the Ring when all of a sudden the music hits. Here comes Triple H and Stephanie saying,
"Oh my God, yes!
You have to beat us because I am the king."
Oh yes!
And they come out and somehow Triple H and Stephanie
pedigrees Cody and wins. Yes! Oh yes! I am so in. Let's go.
And Triple H surprisingly goes over at the end of a show.
Hell yes! Oh, I am in. This ain't no ordinary Paul Levesque event, let me tell you. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so in on that. I so want to see that. Absolutely. And then he could go on the microphone and promote how much money they made for the Mixed Match Challenge, too. Yes. Oh, I'm so in, Lee. I'm so in on this idea now. I love this so
It's
much.
like they're celebrating, the Cody's music's going on, and all of a sudden,
It's time to play the game.
He
Oh,
thinks
it's
he's
so
coming
good.
down there. He thinks he's coming down to congratulate him.
And he pedigrees him. Oh, it's so good.
Oh
Oh,
my
it's so
God.
good.
You have it right before WrestleMania,
Yes.
so that when
Oh, maximum
Triple H-
impact, of course.
well, when Triple H and Stephanie alternate nights to come out to tell how great and welcome you,
And they
to
can wear the
WrestleMania.
crown too if they
Yes,
wanted to.
exactly.
Yes. Behold the king of kings. Yes. Somebody
think
bring
we're
that to Paul Levesque right away.
I think
And
we're
get
onto
this show
something
booked.
here. I'm telling you, this, and look, folks, we're having a lot of fun here, but I don't even think that this is as big of a stretch as we're kind of making it out. If you go back in time and just do me a favor and go watch 1993 Battle Bowl from WCW, and it's just a night where we threw a whole bunch of people into the ring. I think they did it 92 as well.
Yes, I think you're correct.
Where we just, 2 shows, we just threw a whole bunch of people. We picked names out of hats. And can you believe that Sting has to team with Arn Anderson against Brian Knobbs and, like, I don't know, Big Josh?
Eric Watts.
Like, matches you thought you would never see. And then someone was just the Battle Bowl champion. And I don't know what that ever meant to anybody.
Yeah. I've got the
just...
Battle Bowl card up here from 1993.
Okay. Hit me.
We've got Big Van Vader with Cactus Jack.
Okay. Yeah.
Charlie Norris. You remember Charlie Norris?
No.
Well, he tagged with the future Stevie Ray, who went by Kane in this match. So there's a tag team. Brian Knobbs and Johnny B. Bad, the previously mentioned Mark Merrow, defeating Eric Watts and Paul Roma. There's a tag team. Eric Watts and Paul Roma.
Oh my God.
I'm sure Roma was telling Eric, I'm a horseman. Hey, I'm in the 4 horsemen.
Exactly.
And Eric Watts said, my dad books the company. He's Bill Watts.
My dad put you in that spot.
Yeah, my dad got me in this tournament.
But my dad thought it was a good idea for you to be a horseman. I was the one that actually convinced him.
We are Bill Watts's great ideas right here. The other tag team. Oh, I'm loving these tag teams here, Lee. The Shockmaster tagging with Paul Orndorff, defeating Ricky Steamboat and Lord Steven Regal with Sir William at ringside.
You're telling me that Paul Orndorff in 1993 with Tugboat or Shockmaster beat Regal and Sting?
Ricky Steamboat.
Oh my God.
I know.
Okay.
King Khan, later working as Crusher Khan on the independent circuit, and Dustin Rhodes defeats the Equalizer, also known as Dave Sullivan, and Awesome Khan, not that Awesome Khan, in a match that went 5 minutes and 55 seconds. It was the shortest match on the card.
Oh my God. That's hilarious because I don't even know who those people are.
I know who Dustin Rhodes is.
Yes, and I know who the Equalizer is because they did the Dave Sullivan, which they turned into be sort of had a mental deficiency.
Yes.
Later on, and Evad, and just one of the worst storylines in the history of pro wrestling. But yeah, go ahead.
Sting and Jerry Sags defeated Ron Simmons and Keith Cole, one half of the Cole twins.
Oh, I remember the Cole twins.
There you go.
Big mullets.
Yes. Missy Hyatt was ringside for Sting and Jerry Sags. This might have been an interesting match here. Ric Flair and Steve Austin, stunning Steve Austin, with Colonel Robert Parker and Fifi at ringside, defeating Too Cold Scorpio and Max Payne, also known in the WWF as Man Mountain Rock.
Okay.
Still waiting for that unreleased documentary that Man Mountain Rock was going to release.
Yes.
Still waiting on that one there.
But the idea of this was tag team matches to get into a battle royal at the end.
Yes. Which Vader won that battle royal. Other tag teams quickly, because there were more. Rick Rude and Shanghai Pierce defeating Tex Slazenger and Marcus Bagwell.
Oh my God. So that whole, with Rick Rude in it, that whole thing was designed like somebody came up there. We're going to put what was that team called with Tex Slazenger and
Marcus Bagwell.
No, who's the other guy that teamed with Rude?
Oh, yes.
Shanghai Pierce?
Shanghai Pierce. Yes, the Godwins.
Well, yeah, but wasn't he teamed with Tex Slazenger?
Yes.
So I'm supposed to watch that match going Shanghai Pierce and Tex Slazenger on different sides. Oh my God, how is this going to work out?
Yes. How is Hog going to beat Pig in this match?
Right. Oh, by the way, Rick Rude's in it too.
That's right. And Rick Rude and the future Buff Bagwell.
Yeah.
I think he was still teaming with the Patriot at that time. Oh no, Too Cold Scorpio was in this tournament, so I think it was tagging with Scorpio.
Okay.
The other tag team, Road Warrior Hawk and Rip Rogers, defeating Davey Boy Smith and Cole, the future Booker T.
So, and then they go into a battle royal.
Yes.
And then it's every man for himself. And then Vader wins the tournament. And what?
He is the Battle Bowl winner, Lee. I don't know what else you want from your Battle Bowl here.
We talked about Vader quite a bit.
Yes.
And I don't ever remember the Battle Bowl champion coming up.
Did come up in the list of accolades for
part of his resume. So I think we were on to something with this power couple tournament.
We're gonna send this over to Stamford, Connecticut, and they'll probably promptly decline our request for a submission. But
I'm telling you, if this gets in the hands of Triple H, and we put over the fact that this whole tournament goes on, and then he comes out at the end.
Yes.
And
money
wins the tournament. I don't know that he'll turn it down.
Yeah. The way I get through the doors, I go, yeah, Paul, I'm a big fan of yours, and I really want to push this event.
We need more of you on TV.
Yes.
So we're going to call it the Paul Levesque event.
That's right.
Secretly, because you can come down, pedigree both of them, and then have Stephanie pin, so you can let your wife get all the accolades.
That's right. It's brilliant.
Anyway, there's something to it. The whole point of this discussion was that they are going to do the intergender CM Punk, AJ Lee. There's no way they're not doing this.
Yes.
Against Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, and it's going to be. They are going to make some money from it, so I can't blame them for doing it. I really can't. I don't love it. It's not something a match that I would want to see. Yeah. But I think the end of this, as we wrap this up, Zach, the end of all of this is going to be the fact that CM Punk will get his comeuppance later on. They are doing all of this stuff. I think he's going to get his wife involved, and he'll start to get some of these victories back for taking all the things that you mentioned earlier. Good for him for taking all of this stuff and pretending that he's happy with it, because deep down he's not, but he probably sees the other side of it where it's all gonna come back to him in the next 6 to 8 months. This has been a fun episode, my friend.
Yes, it has. I don't think anybody expected, including myself, that we would recap the 1993 Battle Bowl here on this show, but we did. Quickly,
or come up with the very latest PLE will happen at some point.
That will happen.
We're the ones that came up with this.
Yeah, and the booking will be to a T of what we said as well. Like, it's gonna be just perfect, like absolutely perfect. Quickly as well, because I'm sure people want our reactions to it. It's not wrestling related, so if people wanted to X out and leave, they got their wrestling fill, they can. But I'm sure people wanted to get our thoughts on the Micah Parsons trade over the last couple of days. Your thoughts on it? I know some of your thoughts in our continuous exchanges with one of our fans, JD Robb, who is insisting that the Giants will make the playoffs this year. And so I want to hear your thoughts on the Micah Parsons trade, as with everybody else, I think.
Well, first of all, I'm going to give you my knowledge on every single person that's listening needs a group text with one person who's not nearly as quick-witted or smart as the rest of the group, because we always need one person to make sure that they're the butt of every single joke. You don't have a good group text if you don't have that person. And I'm just really thankful that we do.
Yeah, we have our own town fool in the group chat.
I won't mention who that is, but you did. So
we could add up to it too from there. Yeah.
So it's really nice that's he's a participant in this. It allows the rest of us to make sure that. So here's what I would tell you. I want to sit here and tell you, because I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, that somehow, some way, that this is a good thing. I will tell you, this is my honest opinion of it, without sort of the Cowboys complete fandom coming in.
Yep.
Is that the Cowboys are a worse team as we sit here today on September the 2nd than they were before. Now, in saying that, my argument is, if I asked you, Zach, and you won't have these off the top of your head, and I don't have the entire list, but if I asked you who the top 10 players in the National Football League were that were the top paid athletes that were not quarterbacks, top 10 paid in the NFL that were not quarterbacks, that list would include the likes of Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt,
Myles Garrett, I think, is on that list.
Yeah, Myles Garrett, Rashawn Slater, the offensive lineman for the Chargers. Jamar Chase is on that list. There are a couple of other.
I think CeeDee Lamb is on that list too.
No, he's not. He's not in the top. He's not in the top 10.
Okay,
but he's probably close, but he's not quite there.
Gotcha.
The whole point is that there is not one person on the top 10 paid guys that are not quarterbacks. There is not one person that is on a team that you would call a true Super Bowl contender. They are not on the Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens. I think those are the 5 top teams I would put in that sort of elite list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people are going to try to make the argument that with this trade that Green Bay might be on that list. I'm not ready to put them there yet.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody has ever watched Micah Parsons try to stop the run in a big game. It hasn't worked out very well. Micah Parsons is probably the number 1 player in the NFL, to me, that's not a quarterback, that is, how do I say this, is a player that is one-dimensional. That dimension is incredible at what he does. I would equate this to like in baseball to a guy that hits 60 home runs but bats 240. A guy in other sports, in the NHL, scores 50 goals and is minus 10. That one element that they have is as special as it gets. And that's who Micah Parsons is. Would I like Micah Parsons on my team? You're damn right I would. But the Cowboys screwed up their salary cap with Dak Prescott's contract. I still like Dak Prescott, but he's not worth nearly the money that they signed him to.
He's not a $60 million a year player.
No. And so with that, and you have to fault the Cowboys for that, with that, they didn't have the room for Micah Parsons. And if they sign Micah Parsons to a $47 million contract, 50% of their cap would have been Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
You simply cannot win And Micah Parsons, in every big game he's played, gets the ball run right at him and cannot do anything about it. So this is not to tear down Micah Parsons or to say he's not a great player or to say Jerry Jones is the smartest guy in the world. But the real answer here is in between of what do I think of it? I think if you told me that I had the best brain trust in the NFL running the team that I cheer for, and they just got a run stopper up the middle, 2 first-round picks, and went from the tightest cap situation in the league to the second most room in the league, I would feel very hopeful of where my team could go. And that's without Micah Parsons. And I would be sad to see him go, but I would be in a much better place. The problem is the brain trust that runs the team that I cheer for. I do not have the faith that they are going to either use the cap room or use the picks or do anything to, well, I shouldn't say that because they have drafted very, very well.
Yep.
And I continue to maintain that if they just keep the picks and where they are and they draft 4 players in the next couple of years, they're going to be fine. But tell me the same as I just told you, the Triple H is going to come down at the end and win that tournament when he wasn't even in it. It kind of already feels like Jerry Jones is going to give up 4 first-round picks to go get Arch Manning, who put up all of 7 points in week 1 against Ohio State, because he wants a Manning from Texas to be the quarterback of the Cowboys with Manning on the back.
Yeah.
And if I didn't think that and thought they have all the salary cap room and 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years and can go ahead and really improve their team, plus they got a run stopper in Kenny Clark, you know what? This trade isn't that bad. I still think the trade isn't horrible, as opposed to signing a $47 million player that's a very, very good, even great, but one-dimensional player. But I don't have the faith in the Cowboys to be able to use what they just gained to make them a competitive team.
Yeah.
And I also know that the whatever, it's like, this is in college football down near the end, when you see those late games and you see like Fresno State playing like UCLA and you go, oh, look at the betting line. It's 79.5 of the over under. You're like, that's 40 points each.
Yeah.
There's no way both teams are going to score 40 points. And then you look at the total and it's like 116 because the answer is 62-59. So whatever the betting line is for Micah Parsons and tackles in week number 4 against the Cowboys in Dallas, I don't even care what you make the number. The number's over, and he's going to get 22 tackles for 147 lost yards and be walking around eating his turkey wing early as the MVP of the National Football League. I already know that's going to happen in week 4. Like, I already know it.
Yep.
Long term, I think this is a good thing for the Cowboys, only because they screwed up the Dak Prescott contract. And if they didn't screw that contract up, they might have had more room to fit Micah Parsons in and actually fit other members of the defense around him. That's a long-winded answer to say I didn't hate the trade. I just hate what they're going to do with the assets they gained from the trade.
Yeah, even then with the trade, I was hoping they would get more. I know we got the first 2 first-round picks and get some defensive line help from Kenny Clark, whose play has been dipping in recent years, but you still have a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, and that defensive line for the Cowboys has been a real weak spot, and they were hoping Mozzie Smith would improve that defensive line, but he just hasn't been there. And like what you said, just historically with the Cowboys over the last 10, 15 years, they are not a team that's gone out and made the big splash in free agency or made the big trade. A lot of the trades they've made is like, oh, we're going to give up a 5th round pick for this guy and see what we've got with this guy. So I'm not as confident when Jerry's going out there and saying, oh, we could use those picks to trade for an asset. It's like, I'm not buying that. So I'm a big Micah Parsons guy. I think while I agree with you, his rush defense isn't great. That pass defense with this, from the edge is just elite. And I think that provides a boost. And if you have a defense that could stop the run around you, the weakness of Micah can be hidden a little bit more. But yeah, it's with this Cowboys team, it's just they have to show it to me that they can do this. And I just don't have any confidence like you that they would be able to do that. Down the line, we'll see what they do with the picks. I think, like what you said, their drafting doesn't get enough credit. They've drafted some good players over the years, and they've done really well on the scouting front, but they're a team that likes to build from within, and I don't know if they're going to go out there and get an asset in free agency. So I don't know how the season will unfold. I do think with the Packers, I think I'm a little higher on the Packers than you are, in the sense that I don't think that NFC, other than the Eagles and every once in a while with the 49ers, but the 49ers this year I don't think are favorites. Other than the Eagles and maybe the Lions as well, I don't know if there's that many strong contenders to win the NFC this year. So I think the Packers have a line to be able to go there. I mean, the Commanders were there last year, right? And I don't think the Commanders are going to duplicate their success this year. The acquisitions don't inspire me to say, yeah, they're going to go back to the NFC Championship and they're a better team from last year. But yeah, with Parsons going, it sucks. I like Micah Parsons. I know there's the stuff about the podcast, whatnot, but there's some things in my mind when you've got an elite player like that can be a high value contributor, going and getting sacks and all that. I think you try and find a way to keep him, but it's tough to make the argument of like 50% of your cap dedicated to 3 guys. And that just goes back to mismanagement and delaying to the signing and all that. So we'll see. I've seen the jokes that didn't Jerry say at the press conference that he was kind of comparing this to Herschel Walker, where it's like, this could be our Herschel Walker right here with the picks that we got.
It's not. Yeah, it's not going to be.
No.
The only thing I guess I would add is that I'm not sure that there was a win in this situation, because I heard about the trade. I'm like, well, we're worse.
Yeah.
But then if you sign Micah Parsons to $47 million, I wouldn't have been happy.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, 3 guys make up 50% of the cap. Those guys aren't good enough. They get torched with people running the ball on them. I don't think they were a winning team with Micah Parsons at $47 million. So it's kind of a lose-lose right now.
Yep.
I didn't want him to be traded, but I didn't want him to be signed to a $47 million deal. You know, $6 million more than the next guy that's not a quarterback in the league, which is insane. And again, I'll go back to the top 10 guys that are not quarterbacks all play on teams that aren't Super Bowl contenders, because when you pay somebody that much, you can't be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
And Dallas is no different from any of those other teams. Who's the guy? Max Crosby from the Raiders is also on that list.
Yeah, edge rusher is clearly being a premium role there in the NFL with the way that they're getting paid.
Yeah, they get paid, but none of those teams win.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Pittsburgh, the Raiders, Cincinnati. Like, people talk about Trey Hendrickson like he's the next coming of God. I'm pretty sure that Cincinnati's defense is almost as bad as Dallas's.
Yeah, it's a bad defense.
It's like their whole thing last year was that if Joe Burrow just had an average defense, that he would have won the MVP and they would have done this and that. Yep. Well, they did. They had a terrible defense.
It's not like Trey Hendrickson all of a sudden makes them this average or above average defense. Well, he was on that defense.
Right. Trey Hendrickson is an amazing player, and their defense was one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons is a 3-time whatever and one of the best defensive players you'll ever see on one of the worst defenses ever last year. So one player doesn't do that. That's my point.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll finish up here, Zach. This has been fun. We'll get together again soon. Thanks for doing this. There's your Dallas Cowboy Clash in Paris, but we got a new PLE.
Yeah. Battle Bowl 1993 review.
Yeah. I mean, this was a lot of things in one. Don't ever tell me that things have to be one thing. When things can be a lot of different things, as this episode was. Yeah. For Zach McGibbon, I'm Versage. Thanks again for listening to This Is Wrestling.